The Mimic Tear. It's considered to be one of the best Spirit Ash summons in EldenRing. Over the years, it has aided many players throughout their journey by helping them overcome many of the challenging bosses this game has to offer. However, the power of one's Mimic Tear is solely dependent on the player's build. So if your build is shit, your Mimic Tear will also be shit. And this got me wondering, can you make a build so broken and so overpowered that the Mimic Tear could solo the hardest boss in the game? So in today's video, we will be answering that question. Can the Mimic Tear solo Malenia, Blade of Miquella? Now before we progress with the video any further, I want to lay down the rules for this challenge by defining what I mean by solo, what level restrictions I'll be using, and why I chose Malenia. So what do I mean by solo? It's simple. I enter the boss fight, summon the Mimic Tear, and let him fight on my behalf. That means no healing, no attacking, no nothing. I just sit back and watch it all unfold. For the level restrictions, we limited ourselves to a level 150 character, as this is generally considered the meta level range amongst the EldenRing community. Now I picked Malenia as she is undoubtedly the hardest boss in the game due to her controversial lifesteal ability, and you know, this attack. Although I am very familiar with her mechanics, the Mimic Tear isn't. So I knew this wasn't going to be that simple. But to start off the challenge, we had to experiment with some builds to figure out what was viable. And what better way than by trying out the legendary Let Me Solo Her build. So, we stripped down naked, chucked a pot on our head, and went in for it. And well, we were off to a shit start. The damage was fine, Corpse Piler worked great at times, but her lifesteal would quickly undo all its progress. Then I remembered a couple of things that I thought could improve this build. First was the raw meat dumpling. Now, if you have this equipped, the Mimic will use it to heal itself. And due to the Mimic being immune to status effects, the poison effects do nothing. Next was Mog's Great Rune. Honestly, I've read its effects multiple times to date, and I still have no fucking idea what it does, but it does buff spirit summons in some way. So, fuck it, we'll equip it. So after a quick visit to Mog's palace, me and my pot-headed friend entered the arena, slaughtered Mog together, picked up his Great Rune from the Divine Tower, and we were ready for action. Over the next few fights, I saw some improvements. Damage was solid, the Mimic would heal at times, but my next problem was the Mimic being constantly staggered by Malenia's attacks. I was going to need some poise in order for this to work. It was time for a quick wardrobe change. I chucked on this fucking monstrosity of an armor combination and got back to it. And there was massive improvements. The Mimic was staggered far less, the damage was more consistent, and then, finally, this happened. But unfortunately, before I could celebrate any further, he never survived Phase 2. There was, however, a wither of hope. It seemed possible. We kept trying, but there was a new problem I began to notice. The Mimic Tear is more fucking stupid than a late game host that never leveled Vigor. Would constantly smash back the meat dumplings at the most stupidest times. Often he'd consumed them all right after being summoned, fucking up any possibility of winning from the get-go. But after some testing, to reduce the possibility of this happening, I learnt if you summon him close to Malenia's aggro range, the Mimic was less likely to use them all at once. So we kept at it. Game and again and again. But I just couldn't hit that Phase 2 again. So it was time to try something else. The Godslayer's Greatsword. Black Flame is an extremely powerful element in EldenRing. The Godslayer Greatsword skill does massive damage to basically anything in the game. So, we paid a quick visit to Renala, did a respec into a Faith Dex build, changed our gear into this monstrosity, and decided to chuck on a seal and a healing spell, and hoped this would do better. And boy, was I completely fucking wrong. This thing sucked ass. I constantly died while Malenia was at full health, and the Mimic never used the spell once. Fuck. What do I do now? There must be something better. But what could it be? Then it hit me. I had been staring at it directly this whole time. Mog's Spear. Now this thing is fucking broken. It has insane damage, massive range, hyper armor. It was perfect. And following what I had learnt from the Let Me Solo Her build, pairing it with a frost-infused Great Lance should make for a nice combo. So it was back to Renala for a respec, had a wardrobe change, and again we were ready to go. And holy fucking shit, it was effective. It was looking promising. After a couple of attempts, we had already made it to Phase 2, but sadly it was cut short once again. But I was confident. With the right RNG, this might just work. Then, after a handful more of attempts, I recorded this.
The mark of a true lord.
Honestly, when it finally happened, I couldn't fucking believe it. Which is why you can see my character here just blankly staring into the abyss. I was so shocked. My first reaction was to just piss myself laughing, and I was so gutted I didn't have my mic on, as it was absolutely hysterical. But there you go. The Mimic Tear can solo Malenia, but it requires a monstrosity of a build like this and a shit ton of luck. However, after making this video, it left me with another question. Could the Mimic Tear solo the entire game?